Hello and welcome to the news at 10 on NTA News 24. We're reaching you live from Abuja. I am Dennis Adegunloye. Let's begin with the headlines. Federal government seeks additional revenue for infrastructural developments across the country. President reiterates commitment to addressing citizens' concerns. And federal government proposes 30% quota in government positions bill for youths. Okay, let's begin with happenings across the country. The nationwide protests have begun, and Ignatius Nkwor is standing by live at the Eagle Square to give us an update on how things are developing. All right, we're hearing that Ignatius is currently will be in touch with us subsequently, but let's crack on with the news. The recently introduced windfall tax under the Financial Act is gaining momentum for takeoff as the current administration seeks additional revenue to fund developments across the country. However, the policy came under scrutiny as President Bola Tinubu met with some bank chief executives at the State House. State House correspondent Musbah Damahab reports. All right, so we'll bring subsequent details of that in our...
Sir, how are you?
Now let's talk about the federal government's has been providing various interventions to states to cushion the effects of the high cost of living. And joining us live from Libya is Governor Abdullahi Sule of Nasarawa State to speak on the interventions and palliatives being given to people of the state to reduce their hardships. Your Excellency, many thanks for joining us on NTA News.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
All right, so let's begin with obviously the ongoing protests that are slowly but surely gathering momentum on the streets across various parts of the country. Just give us your take. They talked about their grievances on the current economic hardships. How do you receive these protests, and what are your observations and perspectives on the issue?
Well, thank you very much. As far as we are concerned here in Nasarawa State, our preparations actually started about a week ago. We have consulted with the youth groups. We have consulted with the various religious groups. We also consulted with the various labor unions, and other organizations, NLC, TUC, NANS, all the SUGs that you are talking about. And for us, really, in Nasarawa State, with due respect, we have explained to our own people that even if this protest is taking place in some other places, not in Nasarawa Nasarawa State, because the truth is that government is working. And the question of hardship is a global thing that is going all over the world. I just got back actually from China and India. And if you go to some of those places, there are still some hardships, that are going on in some of those places. So question of hardship is not something that is peculiar only to Nigeria. I think what the people are talking about are certain policies of government that needs to change, which I believe the president has been very keen, has been listening to the people. For us in Nasarawa, we have done everything that we can within our own means as far as government is concerned. When I say I just got back from China, I got back from China because Nasarawa State has been selected, by the committee that is getting ready to set up the greenhouse city. And 5,000 hectares of land has been selected right here in Nasarawa State for that purpose. So we're very grateful to Mr. President for that. Our revenue has increased both for local government and the states, and we're using the revenue positively to impact the lives of our own people. We are supporting our farmers. We are supporting our youth at the various places for education. We are supporting all the various health institutions and the rest of that. So I was actually selecting also our workers. We are supporting the workers. We have just finished massive employment of teachers. We have also done some other employment at the various ministries. In addition to that, we are doing everything possible, within our means, to continue with the various infrastructure throughout the state. So those are our justification for the people to say, let's be patient and see the conclusion of what we are doing before we can start looking at anything protest. But for those who insist they must go on protest, we say, no problem. You want to go on protest? We will provide security to ensure that, the protest that you are doing, you also don't interfere with other people's rights, because they are not interested in protest. Therefore, if you want to do your protest, don't do your protest to the level where you block other people. So that's where we are.
The early stages of the protest, but from reports that we're getting, there doesn't seem to be a high turnout of protesters as things stand. How would you interpret this developments? The talk over the past week or so has been there's going to be huge mass gatherings and such, but we're not actually seeing that currently. What would be your interpretation of this?
Well, I don't know about the gathering momentum that you are saying. For us, we don't see any gathering momentum here in Nasarawa State. However, I don't know in some other places we are seeing in the news, Mashfoud Abiola Stadium in Abuja, we have seen some skeletal people around, and we are seeing enough security to give them protection, because they also need protection, those who are protesting. They need protection from the security, and I can see that security are around them to give them protection, so that other people who are not interested in these protests do not come back and attack them. So when you see security, it is not necessarily security against the protest, it's security to protect both sides. I live in Lagos since I returned from the US in the year 2000, and I have seen so many protests in Lagos. And in most cases, you will see some other people who are in protest become so frustrated because other people do not want to be part of the protest, and they start attacking people who don't want to be part of it. So the essence of having security there is to ensure that everybody is protected. If you want to go on protest, go with your own protest, but please leave me to go ahead and do my work. So I remember I live in Lekki, and I was actually working in Apapa, and most of the times they will stop you from coming to Apapa, and you say, no, I don't want to be part of your protest. I'm not interested. So things are working well for me. So I think those are the rights, because people keep talking about the rights of those to go on protest. How about the rights of those who don't want to go on protest? Because it's both ways. So I think that's the way. I don't know about the momentum. Maybe it is gathering there in Abuja also. I don't know. For us here in Nasarawa, we thank God. In fact, it is raining this morning. We pray God actually to do that for us, and God has answered our prayers. So we don't have any momentum gathering here in Lafia.
The showers of blessings there in Nasarawa State. It's good to hear that things are running fairly smoothly there, and the protest has not really touched your part of the country. Many thanks, Your Excellency, for talking to us on this protest. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Almost my pleasure.
All right. let's now go to Ibadan to get a feel of developments there. And as we can see, security agencies are on the ground to, make sure there is law and order. We're not seeing a lot of people gathering around, but obviously security are there. Like I was saying with the governor of Nasarawa State, the turnout does not seem to be huge, and it seems to be the same situation there in Ibadan. And we certainly hope that while it is the right of people to protest, that things will not escalate into any untoward development. All right, my colleague Tessie Omeri has been around, and she's going to compile a report for us on developments in the FCT currently.
Gathered as early as 8 a.m. to begin the protest. For now, they are still in front of the stadium, the Moshood Abiola Stadium. As the Commissioner of Police, FCT, is trying to give them reasons why they should protest, which is their right, but then they should do it inside the stadium so as to avoid the streets being crowded. Negotiation is still ongoing for them to see reasons to use inside the stadium. For now, everywhere is peaceful. As events unfold, I will keep you updated. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Tessie, for that. We'll certainly come back to you as things unfold there. Now, Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, has chronicled the activities of the federal government within the last 14 months. Let's get details of this from Salihu Gwanara.
Because of this,
these members of the Federal Executive Council are the latest Nigerians that added their voices against the Plan End Bad Governance protest. As critical actors, they supported their position with facts and figures.
For the youth especially, and this is very important for them to know, the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has a number of youth-focused initiatives. The first one is the Nigerian Student Loans Scheme. The provision of the Nigerian Student Loan Scheme has a provision to cover 2 million students. There is also the provision of pocket money.
They reaffirmed that President Bola Tinubu, as the driver of Renewed Hope agenda, is a true Democrat with total support to federalism, whose strategies are to confront challenges and achieve sustainable development without sentiment.
In so doing, that he also supported the restoration of autonomy to local government. Noteworthy is his decision recently to sign into law 2 development commissions. North to West, South is consistent with the demand of those constituencies.
What we need as a nation is to allow these economic reforms and various interventions to mature through the gestation period into reality. And Nigeria will never be the same again. Nigeria will be put on a solid economic platform for this and future generations.
So, Mr. President, in his wisdom, has actually been protesting on behalf of Nigerians by ensuring that these key reforms that we need to put the country back on the path of sustained prosperity is being achieved.
Rather than go to the streets to protest, they appeal to Nigerians to join forces with leaders at all levels to collectively fast-track the positive reforms towards nation building. In Abuja, Saliu Gwanara, NTA News.
All right, let's now cross over to Lagos, where Lanre Gbeleyi is going to give us a feel of how things are going there with regards to these nationwide protests. Hello, Larry. What can you tell us?
Well, it's a slow start in Lagos this morning. because before people could come out, they want to know what is going on. So it took around 8:39 before people can troop out to open their shops, for businesses to open. I've been to CMS and I've been to under the bridge in Ikeja. Things started slow there too. But here, right here in Ojota, the Freedom Park, some are gathered doing the exercise. If my cameraman can just zoom to the place where these people are gathered, and they are going inside the Freedom Park to start their exercise. And around there are security presence ready to combat any insecurities that might occur from the exercise. In Lagos, it's been peaceful, no problem so far. You know the fluidity of the situation, but at present, as I'm talking to you right now, it's been a peaceful protest.
Larry, I don't know if have had any opportunity to speak with some of these protesters. I mean, appeal after appeal has gone out over the past several days that this does not need to happen. What have people been telling you as to why they have come out to protest?
Well, I can tell you right now that the people that I talked to, they felt a little bit down because the people that came out is not as expected. People didn't come out that much for the protest, and what they are saying is very clear. They've been stating it so far. I don't want to go into that, but one thing that stands out is that it's peaceful. The security presence have been on since Monday, and you know there have been a lot of adverts on radio and television in Lagos here to ensure that it is peaceful, from the government, the state government, the local government. They've been appealing to Lagos indigenes not to let this thing degenerate to violence. I spoke to one of the police men who says that they are on ground till evening to ensure that there's security for everybody, including the protesters and businesses in Lagos. And so far, that is what is happening right now.
Okay, Larry, so far so good. Very good to hear that it's relatively peaceful there where you are, and everything is calm and collected. Many thanks, Larry, for that update.
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll take a quick break now. We'll be back in a moment. Stay with us. All right, you're welcome back. This is the news on NTA News 24. Our main focus today is obviously the nationwide protests, and as you can see from the visuals, this is Lekki, where again the presence of security is quite significant. Doesn't seem to be too many protesters as of now, and the general theme so far is these nationwide protests have not seen too great a turnout, and relatively calm is what is the situation in the places we have visited so far. So as we can see, Lekki, just a general security presence, and not much in the way of protests as of yet. All right, that's the situation currently in Lekki, Lagos. The federal government has accomplished a greater part of the laid foundation for immediate, medium and long-term prosperity of the nation. Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, stated this at a press conference in Abuja. Kenneth Nanim reports that the SGF urges those who are intending on participating in the protests to shelve these plans, as the President Tinubu administration is already addressing their concerns.
Acknowledging the impact of some economic policies of the current administration on Nigerians, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, urges Nigerians to take advantage of the opportunities therein to build a nation, as development could only thrive in an atmosphere of peace and harmony. The SGF pointed to release of 5 billion naira to states to cushion the effects of fuel subsidy removal, that 5,000 naira wage award paid to workers for a period of 6 months, signing into law of the new minimum wage of 70,000 naira as some of the interventions by the current administration. He also explains efforts by the government to improve infrastructure and social safety programs introduced across the country.
The programs are very vibrant and are yielding results. Of course, local government autonomy, creation of Ministry of Livestock Development, and the new baby, the Nigerian Education Loan Fund. It is in the light of this aforementioned situation and accomplishments that we wish to inform you that Nigeria is work in progress, and in due course we shall breathe a sigh of relief.
Assuring Nigerians that President Tinubu feels the pains the people are passing through at the moment, Minister of Finance, Wale Edu, explains the economic challenges are temporary and efforts are on top gear to reinvigorate the economy.
The gains that have been made over the last 12 to 15 months should not be dissipated, that the momentum that has been achieved in turning around the Nigerian economy should not be dislodged, disturbed, or dislocated.
Both government officials appeal to Nigerians to be a little patient with the process, as there is always light at the end of the tunnel. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
In the meantime, the Senate and House of Representatives simultaneously held emergency plenary sittings to attend to critical national issues. These include the repeal and reenactment of the 2024 Appropriation Act and the adoption of a resolution urging those calling or now protesting more time to deliver on its mandate of improving the well-being of Nigerians. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports on the emergency plenary of the two chambers following their recall from recess.
Both chambers had last week embarked on recess after passing the amended 2024 Appropriation Act with an additional 6.2 trillion naira. This emergency plenary is to make adjustments in form of repeal and reenactment, which was done expeditiously, giving legal backing to the new budget figure totaling 35.55 trillion naira.
The sum of 13 trillion 773 billion 275 million 994,384 naira is for contribution to the development fund for capital expenditure for the year ending 31st day of December 2024. Third reading taken and passed.
In the course of cleaning the bill, the Directorate of Legal Services observed some legal issues that require reconsideration.
The legislators also amended Section 38 of the Central Bank of Nigeria Act to increase ways and means advances to the federal government from 5 to 10%.
Provide immediate funds to address budget shortfalls and finance essential government expenditure, to inject money into the economy, thereby stimulating economic activity and potentially creating jobs.
I would have suggested that we recoach it to read borrowed funds shall be committed to critical sectors.
I have no hesitation in supporting the 10% and nothing more, and also restricting it to capital projects only.
Once this money is borrowed, with the improved revenue that we currently have, as we speak, the revenue generated to date is over 9 trillion naira. What matters is that when we borrow, we repay. When we borrow, we repay. And we should put a timing for the repayment.
This large gathering of citizens' representatives as patriots adopted a motion urging those planning a national protest to have a rethink.
Despite the speculations in the social media that many senators left the country. So I want to thank you for proving them wrong and continue to applaud you for your sacrifice and service to your fatherland. The Senate urges the protesters to give the government more time to address their demands, considering the measures being put in place to ameliorate the situation in the country, such as the National Minimum Wage Act, the sale of crude oil to local refiners in Naira, and the implementation of the Students' Loans Act.
During the emergency sitting, Senate paid tribute to Senator Ifeanyi, representing Anambra South, who died last Saturday.
By the soul of a very vibrant and young departed colleague, distinguished Senator.
All right, on continuing with the nationwide protest, Ignatius Nkwo is at the Eagle Square. He'll give us an update on how things are developing there. Ignatius, over to you.
Eagle Square is actually not really disturbing because before this time I was here as early as 8 minutes past 8 this morning. It was calm, only the presence of security personnel. And when I did speak to some of them, they said at the moment there's not any issue, there's no cause for alarm. And then at that point in time, we saw civil servants going into their offices. And I was able to understand that the presence of security personnel here did not stop them from accessing their offices. Work is ongoing here at the Federal Secretariat. When we left here, we went to the Unity Fountain, where normally protesters congregate before they take off down to Eagle Square here. But when we got there, that place was very peaceful. Still presence of security personnel there. We left there and went to Maitama Junction. It was very peaceful. When I left office this morning, when I was coming to this place, I expected the road would be there may be issues, showing that there's a situation cause for alarm. But I was not until we got to this place. And at the moment, behind me here, you can also see a group of people who just came around. They are protesters as well, calling on government to do one or two things for them. And that's the only thing we've seen so far. And at the moment, everything is calm. But if you even ask me, I'll say their protest is quite peaceful. Even when they were trying to approach towards the gate of the Eagle Square, the security personnel asked them to go back. They shouldn't come into this place. And I think they obeyed what the directive the security personnel gave them. So at the moment, this is the situation here so far. All around here, the central district is all peaceful. Only these protesters behind me here are the people we've seen at the moment.
All right, Ignatius, many thanks for that update, and it's good to hear that generally, so far anyway, that everything has been going relatively peacefully. We will, of course, bring you subsequent updates as the day progresses, and of course in the course of further bulletins. But for now, that concludes the news at 10 on NTA News 24. Thanks for watching. I am Dennis Adigunloye.